Greetings artists, Alan Moonspear here. Welcome back. In this video I will explain and show some things that I mentioned in the previous video. Well, as you can see, I've already done my warm-up. Don't skip the warm-up. The warm-up is very important for you. In addition to warming up helping you draw better, by warming up you will prevent future injuries. Now I want to show you something I talked about in the other video, and I think it would be cool for you to see. It's like I said, I started drawing again recently, and this one is one of my sketchbooks. I used this sketchbook from June 2022 to December 2023. And what I want to show you first is a little bit of my evolution. This drawing was done in June 2022, and this one here in September 2023. This one also is from June 2022. This one in from September 2023. I hope you can see the difference between them, not only because it's with a pen, but it's also a difference in shape, the lines and everything. Yeah, this one here was for 22 too, and this one here is from 22, but who did I end up doing? Those who follow me on Instagram will see these other drawings and how they turned out later. But what I really wanted to show you was this part. Look how many times my sensei Fernanda Prado told me to draw lots of squares, circles, straight lines, and triangles. And I honestly hated doing that. And I thought it was extremely boring and tedious. And what I wanted most was to learn how to draw my characters and scenarios from my imagination. But I did it anyway. And it was no wonder that she asked me to do this kind of thing in the beginning. And sometimes, when I was bored, I did some doodles, some spontaneous drawings, and some variations. Nothing much. But now I understand that there is a reason why she asked me to draw a lot of squares, a lot of rectangles, a lot of circles. Because, as the name says, these are the fundamentals of drawing. Yes, think of it as the foundation of a building. You can't build a building without having a solid foundation. And instead of asking you to draw lots and lots of sheets of squares and circles like I did, I suggested that you do it as a warm-up. But, again, there's a reason why you do this, and it's interesting for you to know why you do it. Well, in the previous video I used Andrew Bosch's method from the Zabio Arts channel to make a simplified drawing. And I said I was starting with a stick figure, right? Well, let's start over. In real time, start your sketch with a pencil, because pencil lead is softer and easier to erase than mechanical pencil lead. When you use a mechanical pencil, it tends to mark the paper, so it's harder to erase. And when you erase, the paper gets marked. So, for now, pencil is our best choice. Remember, always start softly, lightly. Then it will be easy to erase if you make a mistake. So let's keep it simple and start with a stick figure. I usually draw a stick figure like this. I start with a circle for the head, a straight line for the body, two straight lines adjacent to the body for the legs, and a straight line crossing the body line for the arms. Another way to draw a stick figure is, instead of drawing a line across the body, we draw the arms like we draw the legs. With a straight line for the body, two straight lines adjacent to the body for the legs and arms. There you go. Everyone in the world is capable of drawing a stick figure. It's super simple, quick, and easy. And the stick figure doesn't need to be straight, symmetrical, or perfect. This is because the stick figure is a simplified form of a human body. It is a representation of a person, in the same way that emojis are representations of human faces and expressions. This is because our mind tends to see faces around us whenever we look at shapes that resemble two eyes and a mouth together. Or a body, whenever we see a form that has head, torso, and limbs. The name of this is pareidolia. Do a quick search on the internet, and you will better understand what I mean. But there is an ideal way to draw a stick figure that will help you draw better, or start your sketches. Start with a cross, and then draw a circle on top of that cross. So you have a head, you have a neck, you have the shoulders, and here is the torso. Repeat the same measurement for the bottom part. Normally our pelvis, our waist, is a little smaller than the measurement of our shoulders. Our pelvis is the same size as our head. So we'll draw the line of the pelvis here. Here, we'll draw the shoulders. And here is the connection between the pelvis and the legs. You can divide it in half here again. Divide it in half or a little lower. Remember, it doesn't have to be exact. Draw the connections that represent the knees. Repeat the straight line. Draw the connections that will be the ankles. Draw 2 small triangles to represent the feet. Divide the torso a little lower in half. Draw 2 straight lines connecting the shoulders. These are the arms. Draw 2 small circles for the elbows. Now draw the forearms, the connections that represent the wrists. Draw 2 triangles to represent the hands. And finally, draw a small triangle next to the waistline to represent the pelvis. Now the structure of the stick figure resembles the human body a little more. It is easier to identify the head, neck, torso, arms, and legs. Thanks to the circles that represent the connections, it is easier to move this stick figure to draw new poses. I've told you many times to draw a circle to represent your head, but other people will tell you to draw a square or a rectangle. The truth is that your head is not a circle but a sphere. In the same way, if you draw a square, it will actually be a cube, and if you draw a rectangle, it will actually be a parallelepiped, an elongated cube. If you choose this approach, I suggest you use a rectangle, because the sides of our head are flat, but our skull is elongated. Remember that I am always simplifying the drawing. Now is the time to start using the square, triangle, and circle in 3 dimensions. In other words, we will transform circles into spheres, squares into cubes, and triangles into pyramids when necessary. And we will use one more shape, cylinders. How and when will we use them? We will use them to simplify the human body. Instead of trying to draw an arm without knowing anatomy, we will simplify and draw spheres and cylinders. In this example, I am simplifying the shoulder muscles by drawing a sphere. The arm and its muscles are represented by a cylinder. The elbow is another sphere, and the forearm is a new cylinder. This way, it becomes easy to understand what goes where. Simplification and representation also help us when we need to draw the movement of the limbs. The torso. You can draw a cube or an egg to represent the torso. This is because our rib cage is actually something that looks like an upright egg with the top cut off. Regardless of anything, think about the shape of our lungs. Then add the ribs over the lungs. In the book Complete Guide to Drawing from Life, the author, George B. Bridgman, uses the same example of drawing an egg to represent our rib cage. The pelvis and the femur. Always using simplification. Our legs are not connected below our pelvis. They are not like that. Our legs, our femur, our thigh. It is next to the pelvis. Here I need to apologize. I drew it from memory, without using reference, and I inverted the position of the femur. Please ignore my drawing and use the reference image. We usually draw geometric shapes with straight, parallel lines, without deformations. However, there is nothing stopping us from deforming them. In the same way that we transform a sphere into an ovoid, we can and should transform a cylinder into a cone, or something between a cylinder and a cone to represent the thigh, shortening, narrowing one of its ends. This shape is used to draw various parts of the body, like, for example, the forearm, thigh, and calf. If you've watched this far, thank you. Don't forget to warm up and practice what I've shared here. See you in the next video.